The abortion debate, gender issues, the cost of raising a family. These are all major policy battles on Capitol Hill, and many groups are looking at how to appeal to voters ahead of the midterms. Hannah Lape is a legislative assistant with the Concerned Women for America Legislative Action Committee. She's up late with me tonight here on the Final Five. Hannah, good to see you tonight. Thanks for joining us.
Yes, thank you for having me.
One of the things I've noticed, no matter who I talk to, whether they're from the left or the right, I think there are certain issues that unite people. It's just a matter of how you get there. And I know your group has conducted some research trying to figure out how to appeal to voters, what people care about going into the midterms. And it seems like among the many issues, we'll try to hit a couple of them. First thing is grocery prices, which has been something that really does affect everybody. I want to ask you, how are ways that you may be reaching out to lawmakers, your group's reaching out to lawmakers and trying to make your concerns heard?
Of course, affordability is something this administration has championed. Last year in the One Big Beautiful Bill, Republicans accomplished a number of unprecedented tax cuts, including no tax on tips and no tax on overtime to make sure that hardworking Americans keep more of the money that they earn. So those tax cuts are actually hitting right now as Americans are going to work ahead of the midterms. And I'm no expert on grocery bills, but I am sure that Americans will see more of their hard-earned money stay in their pockets so that they're able to support their families and put dinner on the table.
I've talked with many Republican lawmakers over the last couple of weeks, and they've echoed that's something that they're definitely focused on, making sure voters or those concerns are addressed. Are you concerned at all sometimes when, and you mentioned that word affordability, the president has said at times that affordability does not believe it's as big of an issue. He believes it was something that Democrats have been, in his words, making up. Is that a concern that you might have some conflicting messages coming down the pike?
No, I don't think so, but I do think that all of our politicians, left and right, do need to understand that while Americans may not be, focused on some of our international policy concerns, though those are of the utmost importance, what we're really concerned about is Americans and their families. Mm-hmm. Americans, what we found in our poll that we commissioned here at Concerned Women for America is that moms and dads want to make sure they're able to protect their children, to put dinner on the table, to be empowered to care for their children at home. They want fairness in their daughter's sports. They're looking for candidates that champion giving parents the tools they need to protect their children from gender ideology, dangerous abortion drugs, and marijuana. So if we come back to the basics and understand that our voters are looking for policies that allow them to make their homes and their families as strong as they possibly can be, that's going to be the roadmap for success for candidates in the midterms.
Something interesting in that research, 79.6% of people polled support policies that make it easier for mothers to afford staying home with young kids. What do those policies look like?
Yeah, of course. We expanded the child tax credit last year. That was a fantastic way to make sure that parents have a fair shot at their tax returns every single year if they have 1, 2, 3, 4 children, and encourage family formation. We also saw the adoption tax credit in school choice, making sure that parents are able to not only welcome new children into their homes, but make sure that they can oversee their education in the best way possible. So these are really simple ways that we can encourage families to make sure that they have control of what's going on in their homes and outside of their homes, and make sure that they have the final say over their children.
Something, and you alluded to this, but this has been an issue. It's popped up in many states across the country. Many states have passed laws that prohibit biological males from participating in women's sports. It's something the Supreme Court upheld, which was a big victory for the White House in many of these states. I believe West Virginia was one of the plaintiffs there in that law. Is this an issue? I know that this came up a couple of years ago when it came to issues of trans issues. How important is this moving ahead for your group and other organizations like CWA?
Yes, this is still important. Our group, CWA, we found exit polling in 2024 that 70% of American voters, they chose their vote because they were considering the fairness of women's sports. And still today, in this poll that we just released in 2026, 69% said the same. So it has held steady. The Trump administration passing several important executive orders, such as the Keep Protecting Women's Sports and championing fairness, has made such a difference, but we still have a distance to travel. Even seeing some instances of cheating in men and women's sports and seeing the WNBA take this issue head on, we can really shore this up by demanding that groups like the NCAA finally designate the women's category for women only, having strict sex eligibility, and we can pass Representative Greg Steube's Protecting Women in Olympic and Amateur Sports Act to make sure that everything up to the Olympics is crystal clear that men cannot compete in women's sports. So this is still an issue, and it's something that candidates can win on easily this fall.
Hannah, just about out of time here, but I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the abortion debate, which continues, and I know we certainly can fill a lot more than a minute when it comes to that. But a couple of years ago, people believed that this was going to be the winning issue for Democrats after Roe v. Wade was struck down. There were some successes in the immediate aftermath of that, but once again, once President Trump took office, once the Republicans took majorities, it came into focus how important this is an issue for conservative groups like yourself.
Yeah, I think conservatives need to know this fall as they are running for re-election that stalling on safety for women and babies is a losing strategy for the midterms. Almost 70% of Americans support better safety guidelines for the abortion drug because right now the abortion drug industry is still enjoying Biden's COVID-era Instagram-to-doorstep abortion scheme. These drugs are being shipped to criminals, traffickers, and minors with no oversight, and they're flowing into pro-life states where unborn babies should have protections. Women deserve better than dangerous DIY abortions, and 70% of Americans agree. So changes can and should be made right now. The FDA can reinstate common sense in-person dispensing requirements for the abortion drug to make sure that women have medical oversight, and that will decrease abortions in pro-life states. And Congress can pass Senator Hawley's Safeguarding Women from Chemical Abortion to remove the abortion drug from the market altogether. And that's going to be a huge midterm winning issue.
As we saw, at least the rights to dispensing some of those drugs have been upheld by higher courts. But again, those court battles continue. Hannah Lape joining us here on the Final Five tonight. Hannah, thank you very much for taking some time.